Hello, so back in December, about a week before Christmas 2013, Toronto was hit with a really massive snowstorm. Well, it kind of sucked because power was out and, it was awful and cold and miserable and driving was dangerous. But everything was coated in a nice layer of ice, and when the sun was at just the right level of the sky, everything looked completely beautiful. So of course, when, nature gives you lemons, grab your camera and make camera pictures. That's a terrible analogy. Alright, so anyway, I grabbed my camera and decided to take pictures. The inspiration for this set was I wanted to go for something sort of like a Jackson Pollock painting, where it would just be not so much of a tree from a distance, but just focus on a texture and a color and shapes. So I would think of the different widths of the branches as so different thicknesses of just paint spatters. Rather than just taking pictures, sometimes I like to have an idea in my head and just kind of get that in images. It's kind of a nice way to challenge. Anyway, so here you can see a bunch of the photos. I've got the edited along with the original of each picture in this folder so you can see them side by side. I'm going to show you roughly what I did. First thing was use the color zones module, and I decreased the lightness of the oranges and the blues, and the saturation I increased greatly for the oranges and reds and slightly for the blues. So you can see it really gives the blue a nice kick of intensity, but it also makes this wood tone, it's a nice complementary color for the blue, so it just kind of visually balances it. And the added intensity of the yellows also gets that sun glint kind of going in the little ice specks, and it makes it look nice and pretty. I should have shot this about 30 minutes later because the light would have been better, but it would have also been colder, and I'm a wimp, so just fake it in post because whatever. The other guys, the Velvia filter, I cranked the color way up, and the vibrance, which you can't really see, but I also cranked that up a little bit. Equalizer, this is one of my favorite filters. You can't really see what it does. Oh, there you can. So it does a nice job of sharpening this. Of course, I have it with a fancy drawn mask right now, but that doesn't matter. Anywho, also I've applied a custom curves because the original was rather flat, and it really I don't know, it just didn't have some life, so give it a nice curve and it just, pops. I like that look better. Base curves I turn off because I just don't like the Darktable defaults. So that's pretty much it, is a quick thing of the curves, the Velvia, the vibrance. Oh, I ran a profiled denoise to smooth things out, which slows things way the hell down, but I only do the denoise on the color channel, so that way you still have your luminance noise, but the chroma noise is taken care of. It kind of gives a Photoshop-y watercolor look if you do a proper denoise, and I kind of like a little bit of noise. Just it makes certain social media uploads, the noise tricks it into being a higher quality image and you don't get the banding. So anyway, that's enough rambling about the process. After I got one image, I just kind of I did the history stack and did a copy all, highlighted every image in the series and did a paste all, and then tweaked a few a little bit, but for the most part that series of changes worked across the board. So you can sort of tell that most of these images look pretty much the same, but then you'll have a few like this guy and these two up here and this one that don't have the same overall color tonality, and they might need a little bit more work, but for the most part it's just the same effects run on everything.